That's another good point, because that's part of it. Oftentimes, either those that are most senior or those that the ruling party wants to protect and keep in office get more earmarks than anyone else. And you can see that if you look at, I believe, even Christopher Carney. He has been very successful in getting earmarks. Some of those projects are very worthwhile, and I will tell you that flat out. The problem is, and this is an equality issue for me, constituents pay taxes throughout the United States. We should each get a share of that, an equal share of what we're paying in. So one of my thoughts in reforming this process is to make sure that each district is capped at a certain level of earmark funding they can receive. And specifically, no earmarks can go to anything but publicly owned and operated infrastructure. So those water and sewer projects, those types of projects that are vital for communities could still be funded with federal appropriations that may not have the kind of support. And you don't have to call it earmarks, call it what you will, but that each district is treated fairly and they get the same amount of money, because we're all paying the taxes. There's no reason that your taxes or mine should be going to support a pet project in California. It doesn't make sense for our country. The other aspect, I would say that I agree with, there were steps made this year by both Republicans and Democrats to reform earmarks, and I think they both made some progress. One was to not fund any private earmarks to corporations, and I think that's vital, because we see more and more that corporations are giving high levels of contributions to get earmarks that are effectively no-bid contracts for service, and that's a big problem. And others have pledged not to take any. And I think that's where we need to go. But I do think a good compromise to the effort is that we allow a certain level of appropriations in each congressional district that would be decided locally. What is the best priority? And I guess as a county commissioner, the community development block grant money for us is similar to that program. I think that that's vital, because some of these small town communities, they just don't have the funds to invest in their infrastructure, and it needs to be maintained and expanded in some cases.
So you're not saying that if you get elected, you will not accept or go for your district?
I would say no, I would not make that pledge, because I do feel that there are certain projects that need support. But I would say that I do think at some point I would work constantly to reform the process. And one area that I think could work is my plan that I talked about today. There are projects, and I could rattle them off in my county, that have received funding, and they're very important. And I'm sure throughout the district we can find projects that we like, we can find projects that we don't like, but it should be very transparent and visible what money is going where. And I definitely think anyone that receives funding should not be tied to a contribution, and we see that too often.
The district's so big, and your opponents both have name recognition for one reason or another that probably stretch beyond their hometowns. How do you overcome that?
I've been traveling the district since December 21st, all across, and I've had a great deal of friends that I've met and become acquainted with in all of the counties. And when you get to a race this size with such a big area, you can't do it yourself. And you absolutely need the help of people in every community. And that's what I'm building on. And I started a 14-county tour. Actually, this morning is the kickoff when I went to the Issues and Eggs Forum. We will be visiting every county again in a 14-day period. So 14 counties in 14 days. It's a very ambitious plan, and we're meeting with businesses, doing tours of various businesses in the district. We're also going to meetings, Farm Bureau meetings, and debates and others throughout the district. It's important to become familiar with everyone, and that's the main thing. You've got to know the district. The only way to do that is to travel it and do it often, and that's what I'm doing now. all my free time is traveling the district and getting to know people.
Does it impact your full-time position as a county commissioner?
Yes, some people, right before this 14 county tour, I've been doing nights and weekends for campaign activities. Some people might go to the Bahamas for their vacation. This 14 county tour is my vacation. I will be back for meetings and all of that, but I will not be in the courthouse my standard 40 hours that I try to do beforehand.
Have you heard from people in the county about that?
I have heard from some. They know my commitment, though, and they see me. The thing is, they haven't, before this 14 county tour, and this is a vacation for me. I won't be taking a trip elsewhere this year. I won't be able to afford it. All the money's going towards the campaign effort, but that's something that I feel people can understand. Everyone gets vacation, and I am using my vacation for this purpose, which I think is very important to me and the district and the people of Snyder County. I see this as a way I can better represent them by traveling this district and getting to know everyone, and hopefully I'll have an opportunity to serve them in Congress.